give us a sense of how you're doing it? How have you tried to leverage automation to lessen the cost or accelerate time?
Sure. So if you talk about automation, right, it takes me back to my time at the banking. We've used, I think that's when I really worked very closely with really going away from these manual jobs or manual processes to optimizing, business process using automation. It reminds me of, there's a process called mark to market, where you take the market pricing and you try to, update all your trades for that day with that new pricing. So this was being done, believe it or not, this was being done manually, right?
Wow.
So imagine the volume of data and someone, some offshore location manually keying buttons. So that was the first time I realized the power of how data could be automated, data jobs could be automated, and ever since then, there's been many occurrences, both in Novartis and Sanofi today, where we are pursuing ways to optimize the way things are being done, especially when you talk about two systems, right? A user. Business SME is entering something in system A, and then that same data has to be moved into system B. There are some ETL jobs that do it, but there is still a lot of manual work that's being done due to lack of standards. So I think the automation piece can only be empowered when there are some quality checks and standards in place that enable the interoperability of data. That's what I've learned in my journey, and I think it's critical that we set those ground rules. When we are trying to move data or automate data processes, that you have a solid quality protocol and you have some standards in place.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. I think interoperability of data is at the essence of the data problem. By the way, we share that view. At Synity, we've tried to do some of the things you just discussed, which is use the metadata to inform how the master data across the systems can talk to each other, right? Looking at the impact and lineage, et cetera. And so that's good insights for sure. Hey, look, you talked about prioritization. You talked about a big, diverse organization. You talked about what you're trying to accomplish with clinical data and being sure you measure it. But to get these projects to really kind of get their return on investment sometimes, right, takes time. And there's what I'll call stakeholder fatigue. What have you tried to do that's been successful to try to keep the momentum, keep people involved till you finally get to the ROI?
Yeah, I think change management is a very important element for any data organization. If you're not able to convey the message clearly, or if you're not able to get the buy-in from the stakeholders, you will be left at either a POC stage, if not at most the MVP stage. So for us to go beyond that, right, it's really important for us to keep them involved throughout the journey. So we have this concept of co-creation. So everything that we try to create from our office is always, we don't say the data office is creating, we always say we are co-creating with the functions. So that gives you an essence of this is not someone else's product or a solution, but this is our solution, my solution, that gives some sort of responsibility and accountability for the end users to actually contribute more effectively in building that solution, and that obviously leads to better funding, better outcome of the product. So for me, I think that's important that you involve them in the right phases at the right time. You have a communication plan, project management 101. Make sure you have a project management plan. Make sure you're reaching out to them in the current cadence and they're up to date on what's going on. And it's POCs and POVs, like proof of concepts and proof of values, are critical. I think before we talk about a 2-year or a 3-year transformation project, I think it's really important that we spend the first 2 or 3 months to show them what the product would look like, and take a small business use case, show them that it might not be directly related to that function, but at least if it is reflecting one of the functions in the 6, they can at least see and relate to the solution and think of other use cases that they could really leverage that solution. So I think proof of value is the word I'm using it more. I think unless you show the value, in today's org structure, it's really hard for you to get the funding. mainly if you're talking about a 2-year, 3-year, transformation project.
Hey, Kiran, data matters, words matter. I love the fact that you use the word proof of value. If you ever, get tired of the data business, maybe you should go into politics. I like the idea of talking about project as co-creation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kiran, for joining us today. Very insightful. And thank you, guests that are listening. And please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard.